Hello and welcome to episode 214 of the Veeam Community Recap. And I have a special guest, Jay Seeger. 2 weeks in a row, Jay.
Yeah, I'm not so special anymore. I guess
Oh,
it seems to become quite regular. No, last week I was with Maddie and Julia, so because you didn't have time, and now this week Maddie has another appointment, so she asked me if I could come again. I mean, we teased it a little bit already last week that I will do two in a row. But
yeah.
yeah, always happy to be here, and the first time with a big Rickatron.
I don't know about that. But I will say last week I was at the Nutanix.next event, and we're going to come back to that here in our topics here today. But actually, technically, this week I'm on vacation, but they're paying me anyway, so I'll just come on in. I love doing the recap. Maddie's on vacation as well. She needs some
Ah,
vacation. She's down in Brazil doing her good stuff. But thank you so much, Jay, for joining us here again 2 weeks in a row. And we were prepping the content, and we got an incredible list of stuff. You ready to jump into it?
yeah, well, I am. Go for it.
All right. So first up, we actually have, speaking of Nutanix, we have Pete Ybarra up, and he has a post that came up yesterday. We're recording on a Wednesday of performing instant VM recovery to Nutanix AHV. Now, I just went to Nutanix.next last week,
Hmm.
Jay, and I'll be honest with you. I knew about our Nutanix capability. I knew
Yeah.
about these VirtIO drivers that need to go into workloads when you move it through. But I think that we're as a ecosystem, we're just so many organizations are right on the edge of moving workloads to new hypervisors due to, let's just say, reasons.
Yeah,
But you know,
monetary.
monetary financial situations. But I think this is really cool how Pete writes up, the promised land of getting into moving workloads into Nutanix. I think this is awesome.
Yeah, it is. Actually, like as you mentioned, HAV, I mean, it is around for quite a long time and it already has not only a couple of installations, but they are out there. But as you mentioned, due to the reasons we all know about, they get a huge uplift at the moment. But at the same time, because they weren't that big in the last few years, there wasn't much love for them. You in the last few versions, you upgraded your product to use the Nutanix workers and so on, which helped a lot. We also have a lot of customers who are running on Nutanix, but so far I didn't have a lot of contact with them. But this is about to change because, like, one of my biggest customer is about to switch over from vSphere to Nutanix, and we're talking about couple of tens of thousands of VMs running over to Nutanix. So I guess the next time in my temp schedule will consist of, with a lot of Nutanix. So I have to get up to speed. So it's always nice to see when some new blog post and some new info is coming up because every piece of information helps.
Yeah, I think that all of the market kind of decisions are kind of under assessment, right, on what platform. And this is well timed. And I got to hang out with Pete a bit last week at the Nutanix event. I'll just say this: I was floored how much energy is around this Nutanix platform. We track in our telemetry, the market share. Nutanix is the number third market share hypervisor. It has been growing as well and having new capabilities come around. We had some in the last release. So stay tuned and thank you, Pete, because we don't really have a lot of Nutanix content. So good
Yeah, thanks,
stuff.
Pete.
Yeah, more to come. All right, now I'm going to go over to Christoph over in, I think he's in Belgium. I can't mess that up. It's if you call it Netherlands and it's actually Belgium, it's not a good conversation. But I do believe Christoph from Belgium has a cool topic here. And he attended Milder and Andreas's session at Veeam about the hidden feature hunt.
Great
And
session, by the way.
always a great session. And before
Always.
before we even got started, I said, guys, you're going to have to do it twice. You're going to have to repeat it. And one of the key things of their session, and you know a lot about this, Jay, is registry keys that can,
Yes.
do some important things. And Christoph's on a journey to share the registry key of the month. I think this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, registry keys, they're it's like fire and water in my opinion. They can be extremely helpful, they can be extremely dangerous, and they are, well, it's always the thing is with registry keys, you have to somehow keep a note of what registry keys did I set, when did I set them, why did I set them, because at some point you're going to migrate your VBR server to some new machine, the registry key is gone, and you're like wondering why isn't it working like it was before. So it's always, I mean, it's not part of the normal configuration, so there's another thing you have to keep track of. And just to be sure, be mindful of what registry keys you set, and understand what they're doing, or at least use them in the test environment first.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. I didn't even think about migrating the BNR server and how you centrally store them. Like in my head, when you said that, I'm thinking maybe make a folder in your default backup repository that has the reg keys or something like that. But I don't even know if that's central enough for multiple backup servers. So that's really, really good. Really good advice. But I think that gets environment specific. Love this idea, Christoph. And he puts this over on his personal blog, which I was jumping over to just there to show it. But great idea. I think Hannes, the Hannes feature, that's kind of funny. But the one that he shared is automatically dismounting some of the temporary data stores. That's just a great way to clean up. So that's a really good one to start with.
Yeah, I got on Hannes' nerves, I think, for now 2 or 3 years for that feature, because I have a lot of customers who complain, and actually with reason, that the NFS data store stays mounted. I mean, the reason why you guys did it is, of course, I mean, it's logical, because the next restore will be faster when the data store is already mounted. But on the other hand, it screwed up a whole lot of automations when a data store is only mounted to one ESXi host, and at some point then problem when you do the vSphere HA, when you want to, it screws stuff up when vSphere sees that there's a data store which is only mounted to one host and not the complete cluster. And also the administrators always see a weird data store which they don't know about because the backup guys mounted it. And I always pushed Hannes and the team that we need an option to be able to unmount the data store after the instant recovery.
I actually
we finally have it.
I have a better idea. We should have one persistent data store called Veeam IR, and then folders for every Veeam BNR server underneath. That's probably the solution, honestly.
Yeah, that could be even better.
Yeah. So, Hannes, if you're listening, that's what's up. That's Rickatron's on vacation product enhancement idea. So we'll see how that goes. Awesome. Thank you, Christoph. Great stuff. All right, everyone, buckle your seatbelts. We're going to talk about something really cool here. Now, Michael Cade brought this one to my attention, and I'm like, whoa. Local AI via Kubernetes exposing a GPU dev environment. Holy buckets. This is wild. And I'll be honest with you, Jay, I was a little bit having to read this one 2 or 3 times. I don't do anything with Kubernetes. I barely spell. I can't even spell AI. And I'm joking. But when I look at like these types of use cases, I'm putting these two things together where some of these really dynamic AI use cases on something like Kubernetes, that's actually pretty interesting technology, even if I'm not an expert in these things. I think this is a pretty cool thing here. And then, and by the way, this Abi Wot, I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. This is the first time I believe I've called the name. So welcome. With 4 comments in, you're relatively new. So thank you for this. This is some pretty heavy stuff. I mean, but I think the idea here, it's pretty well explained. And I think this is just kind of cool stuff. Any thoughts on your side, Jay?
Basically the same as you said. I think the problem here is like, it's the same when 2 Veeam guys talk about the Veeam software and somebody stands next to them he has no idea what they are talking about. And like this is the same for us too. Let's say when it comes to Kubernetes, to AI, to all of this fancy stuff, if you're in this game or if you're in this space, I'm sure this is extremely helpful for you. I mean, it's an interesting read, but I do not claim to understand 2 words in a row from that.
I love it. And I'll be very much in the same bucket, but I do think in this area, this is very well described and
Yeah.
very, very interesting kind of idea. So, just hey, people are talking about cool stuff on the Veeam Community Hub about this. And here's Cade's kind of the adult in the room. Love to see more content from you. He's motivating for this. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And Joe says he did something like this with Docker and Windows Subsystem for Linux and GPO pass through for a workshop. Cool. So it's like some others are kind of getting down this path as well. So even the notorious KGG jumped in. So that's awesome.
I mean, he's always jumping somewhere.
Yeah. So Obi Watt or Abi Wot, I don't know how to pronounce that. Thank you. This is fantastic. Love these
Yes.
advanced tech use cases. Keep them coming.
Great write-up. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So we're going to go to some special department news, and I'm actually going to start nice and close to you, Jay, but you can't make this one. But it looks like in Frankfurt, there's a local user group going on.
Yeah, unfortunately, because I know that almost all of the Veeam Vanguards will be there, but unfortunately, me and Peter, like Peter Steffen, he's the new Vanguard from this year. He's my direct colleague. We have a internal meeting which is mandatory on this day. So unfortunately, we cannot make it. But I know from Marcus and Lucas Klosterman and so on, they are all going to meet up there. Yeah, it's sad that I'm going to miss it, but I'm sure Falco and the crew will rock it.
Oh yeah, we've got Hannes in there twice. I love Hannes taking
nice.
the agenda, and Falco always brings good stuff to the equation. And then this is also kind of an interesting angle when you just have the users talking, right? Kind of an open thing.
Yes.
So if I look at the agenda, that's all cool. But I'll be honest with you, Jay, my favorite part right here, the beer garden.
The beer garden.
That is the best. I love it. So if you're in Frankfurt, which, quiz me. Frankfurt is north,
kind of in the
west,
middle.
Oh, central Germany?
Yeah, central.
Central. Darn
Yeah.
it. Okay, central Germany. I know Munich's in the south, and
yes.
Berlin is northwest. So
yes, Berlin is northwest. But beer garden would be, I mean, when they come to Munich, there's where the nice beer gardens are because, it's Bavaria and so on. But a beer garden is a beer garden. You cannot go wrong with it.
Yeah, it's still a beer garden, so it makes me happy. Yeah. So that's good stuff. But anyways, thank you, Falco and the others, and Hannes and the others that will be organizing this event. Make a blog post, meeting tweeting, write it up, as the day goes. And thank you, looks like Object First, for sponsoring. So good stuff. Always good to have a user group. And the Germany team nobody does it better. So rock on. All right, next up. Now I've translated this one to English, but this is Veeam user group Africa French speaking. This one will be delivered in French. And this is Fortuna and Camille going to deliver the content here. And I love it because it's about Veeam 1. I'll be honest with you, friends, Veeam 1 doesn't get enough love. So I wanted to highlight this one. Really cool stuff. And Fortuna, good to see you kind of driving that. Our very first and only member from Cameroon. So
really?
Yeah, exactly. He was at our summit, and really nice to meet him. He's doing good things, and especially in French-speaking Africa. So rock on, and thank you, Camille, for joining. All right, last up on special department. No, not last. I got one more. This one is from VUG Argentina, and Esteban and Pablo are going to talk about OpenShift and cast-in protection. Now, Jay, I don't know if you've done anything in this world, but this is also, much like the Nutanix conversation, a new platform that people are considering as well. There's, even with KubeVirt, you can move workloads from Veeam to OpenShift. And honestly, just seeing this, 18 registrants for an Argentina user group online, that's actually pretty good. This is pretty interesting.
Actually, the customer I was talking about before, he like it's not in play right now, but they're also thinking about not putting all of the eggs in one basket again, like they did with VMware. They're thinking about running two hypervisors, one being HAV, one being maybe something in this area. We'll see. Time will tell. But I mean, they got now all of those problems because of those monetary reasons, which we all know about, and they're like kind of cautious right now to now only set everything on one hypervisor platform.
The biggest customer that I've spoken to that is moving, they kind of ended up in a different situation where similar that they decided they're going to have two platforms. They decided their central three biggest data centers would stay VMware. Everything else, which was as little as an edge location of two hosts and as big as, a 10 host cluster,
Yeah,
everything else would be Hyper-V. And I thought that was interesting. And I like Hyper-V, right? So that was pretty well aligned to me. But it's like you're not, what you saw there is not inconsistent when they're deciding to have two platforms now. So pretty cool stuff. All right. Well, thank you, Pablo, and thank you, Esteban, on a path to greatness there. Love it. And one more special department thing. So I got to share a secret. When we're talking about this, Jay mentioned one of the sessions we did at Veeam with Hannes at probably the Hardened Repository Deeper Dive session. And Jay's like, how do you do that, the draw with the lines and sometimes the text and make it change colors and stuff like that? And I said, I use Zoomit. And Zoomit is a sysinternals tool. Now, if you're in the business of showing and telling stuff, this is a really cool. Now, it only runs in Windows, but it really makes a difference to kind of bring into focus, highlight something, and then also put in notes if you wanted to. Yeah. Really easy to use. It runs like as a systray element in Windows and hasn't been up. It doesn't get updated much, but Mark Rusinovich himself does it. And it is, I tell you, it makes a difference, I think. You can be a little bit too shifty with it, though. That's my only concern.
Yeah, I mean, the software is one thing, but what always amazes me, and I didn't even only notice it at Veeam, but also I think at almost any of your presentations or your recaps, I always see like when you're presenting the zooming, the underlining, the squares, and so on and so on. And I mean, the software is the one thing, but doing it so seamlessly and doing it in the flow of talking about the subject and highlighting the correct stuff and so on. So hats off to you. You use it like a real pro.
Well, but like, look at all these commands. I'm freaking out here because there's so many I don't
It's like
know.
a VI cheat sheet.
Oh my gosh, I got to up my game. I mean, I can go to colors, lines, boxes, but let's just see here. Let's do this. I saw ellipse. This one right here. Draw an ellipse and an arrow. Okay. That I didn't know you could do it. Hold Control Shift. Control Shift. No, Control Shift. Or maybe it's Control Shift. Oh, look at that. Oh. Look at that. Those are so cute. I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay. I need to like work on my aim a little bit, but I'm gonna challenge myself. So that's cool. All right. So Kirsten also on our team, she's learned Zoomit. So
yeah, I think I saw one presentation of Kirsten where she also started to use it, and I was like, "Dad, now she's doing it. What are they using, and why are they good at it?"
Yeah, it's funny because now my use case is a little bit different than others, but I never did it, but I was going to make a blog post on the community hub of what do you put on a virtual machine template, which kind of things do you put on there. I put in there Zoomit. That's one of the things I put on my templates, but only me. All right.
If there's at any point there's a Zoomit certification process, you can.
I want Microsoft MVP for Zoomit. I want to do it.
Yes, do it.
I want it. All right. Big thank you to Sophia. We processed 506 new users. That's what happens when you don't do it since before Veeam on. But we just have the number. It just would have not fit on so many pages. But number of cool usernames here. Spoofer 3000. That's cool. Greenwall, Tech Zelly, Mickey Mac, Bugsy, DRZ Office, Chaos Head, and DR Love. Cool names. The Alfred's pick is Cheesehead Chris. You have a badge coming your way. These are funny names. It's just amazing to see some of these usernames that come through. So big welcome, everyone. And Jay, thank you so much for joining us here on the recap.
Sure. Always nice to be here.
Maddie's back next week. I got to go to
Right.
Europe. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think what I'm going to do is just get really early on Thursday. I know she doesn't like it on Thursday because it's close to the end of the week, but we'll see what we can do. But thanks for joining. What's up next for you, Jay? Just this big migration you mentioned. Maybe that's one.
Big migration will be the next few years, I think. But at the moment, I have 3 to 4 customer things going on. I also have, due to my technical team lead role, I have 2 new colleagues which are newer to the enterprise IT game. They're quite young. They're 21 and 26. And they require quite a bit of my attention, and I do like small teachings with them. We play a fictional customer for them where they can practice their presentation skills and their ability to be to write up concepts and so on. So that takes quite a bit of my time at the moment.
I'll tell you, having worked with young people, or at least people new to the role, not necessarily young.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is that's an investment. If you can see that pays off, and then it can build, and then it can be autonomous, work on that. That's cool. That's one of my favorite things, is bringing people up to a level, and then they'll get to a point where they're kind of beyond, and that's even better. So, but they all don't, not everybody, can take it and grow and thrive, but it is an investment. So that's fun.
Yeah. And other than that, I mean, just before our recording, I mean, for me, it's later afternoon. For you, it's not. What time is it with you?
I'm coming up on 10 a.m., so 9:51.
All right, I'm close to 4 p.m. at the moment. So I was with a customer before who is using Linux on PowerPC, so Linux PPC, and I didn't have a lot of experience with that so far, but we had some interesting little finds, and I think I'm gonna put some of this in the community up.
Yeah, exactly.
Post.
Show and tell, man. That's the way to go. I mean, I know it's tricky. You got to be careful about, sometimes even bringing a screenshot. It's the client's infrastructure. I understand that, but just definitely bring the expertise. That's for sure. But thank you so much for joining me here today, Jay. We will see you all next week on 215.
All right. Have a good